You ever have that feeling? You know the one. You're working like crazy, putting in all the hours, but you're not actually making a real difference? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. We're diving into a really powerful shift in thinking called the lean mindset. It's all about cutting through the noise, getting rid of wasted effort, and focusing everything you do on delivering perfect value. Okay, let's get into it. So, take a look at this. On the left, you see a trap that so many businesses fall right into, the producer's trap. The thinking here is basically, hey, we're good at making stuff, so let's just make stuff. We build, we create, we push it all out there. But then, look at the right. Lean thinking just completely flips that script. It says, whoa, hold on. Start with the customer, and then work your way backward. And this leads to maybe the most important question you could ever ask yourself or your team. Are you working hard on the wrong things? I mean, think about it. The biggest waste of all is to get really, really good at making something that absolutely nobody wants. Lean thinking is the perfect antidote to that exact problem. Let's dig into this producer's trap a little more, because you have to understand the problem before you can fix it. This is hands down one of the biggest sources of waste in any organization. We're talking about products that sit on shelves and features that nobody ever uses. So here's the absolute game changer. Lean isn't about working harder. It's about completely reversing your thinking. Instead of starting with what your company can do and pushing it out, you start with what your customer actually needs and you pull value toward them. It's a total 180-degree shift in direction. This brings us to the very first fundamental principle of Lean. Before you do anything else, you have to answer the question, what is value? And the number one rule here is that value can only, and I mean only, be defined by your end customer. Not by you, not by your boss, but by them. And check this out. This is basically the whole roadmap. You can see the 5 core principles of lean thinking right here. And notice where it all begins. Step 1, specify value. Before you can map your value stream or create flow or chase perfection, you gotta know what you're aiming for. This is your true north. Okay, so once you know what your customer actually values, the next job is to look at everything you do, all your day-to-day activities, and start sorting the good stuff from the junk, the valuable work from the pure, unadulterated waste. I love this visual because it makes it so clear. Just imagine pouring every single task your team does, every email, every meeting, every line of code, into the top of this funnel. It doesn't all just come out in one lump. It gets sorted into 3 very different streams. And understanding these 3 is the secret to getting lean. First up, the good stuff, the gold. These are your value-added activities. Now, for a task to count as value-added, it has to pass 3 really tough tests. 1, it has to actually change the product or service. 2, it has to be something the customer would happily pay for. And 3, it has to be done right the very first time. This is what we're trying to maximize. Then you've got the second stream, and honestly, this is just pure junk. It's non-value added. We're talking about waiting for someone to approve something, walking across the office to get a tool, fixing mistakes, or just making way more than you need right now. This stuff adds 0 value. The goal here? It's simple. Get rid of it. Now. And that leaves us with this third, kind of tricky category, business value added. You can think of this as the necessary evil. Your customer couldn't care less about it, but you absolutely have to do it to stay in business. Think accounting, legal paperwork, safety inspections. You can't just eliminate this stuff, but your goal should be to make it as lean and efficient as humanly possible. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. What a customer values is not set in stone. It's always changing. This hotel Wi-Fi example is just perfect. Back in 2004, if your hotel had Wi-Fi, wow, it was a delighter, a totally unexpected bonus. Fast forward to 2014, and it's a performance feature. Faster is better. But today, in 2024, it's a must-be. It's a basic expectation. If you don't have it, you're not even in the game. What was once amazing is now just the price of entry. So, let's move on to the final and maybe the deepest principle of lean. This is where we go from just identifying value to the relentless, unending quest to actually achieve it. We're talking about the journey to perfection. You know, the guys who literally wrote the book on lean put it best. Perfection isn't a finish line you cross. It's not a destination you arrive at. It is a constant, never-ending journey of getting better. And that mindset is what separates the pretty good companies from the truly legendary ones. So how in the world do you actually do this? How do you make this journey happen? Check out this visual. To improve, that's the PDCA wheel trying to roll up the hill, you first have to be stable. See that little chalk holding the wheel in place? That's SDCA, or standardize, do, check, act. It stops you from sliding backwards. You have to lock in your current best way of doing things before you can even think about improving it. Now, the engine that pushes that wheel forward is the PDCA cycle. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful four-step loop. First, you plan, figure out the problem, and set a goal. Then you try out your idea, usually on a small scale. Next, you check, you measure the results and see if it actually worked. And finally, you act. If it was a success, you standardize the new way. If not, you go right back to the planning stage and try again. But let's go a little deeper because this is about more than just a mechanical process, right? It's about building a culture, a deep-seated obsession with getting better, every single person, every single day. And at the absolute core of that culture is a Japanese concept you've probably heard of, Kaizen. It literally means change for the better. This isn't about some massive 6-month project. No way. Kaizen is a philosophy where tiny, little improvements made by everyone from the CEO down to the person on the front line all add up over time to create huge results. This slide just nails the difference. Kaizen is like taking one steady step after another, day after day. Innovation, on the other hand, is like a giant rocket launch. It's high risk, high reward. The truly great organizations, they don't choose one or the other. They're ambidextrous. They master both the small steps and the giant leaps. And none of this works in a vacuum. It all has to be built on a solid foundation of something called Total Quality Management, or TQM. The idea here is simple. Quality is not some department's job. It's an umbrella that covers absolutely everyone and everything. And it's every single person's responsibility to help hold it up. And boom, this image right here pulls it all together beautifully. You've got your stable foundation, that's TQM and standardization. You've got your engine, that's PDCA and the whole Kaizen mindset, powering you up. And what are you reaching for? That star at the very top, delivering perfect value for the customer. It's a complete, elegant system for achieving excellence. All right, so let's boil this all down. What do you absolutely need to remember from all this? Number 1, stop falling into the producer's trap. Always, always, always start with the customer. Number 2, get serious about classifying your work, find the real value, and then minimize or flat out eliminate everything else. 3, remember that perfection is a journey, not a destination. And finally, use simple systematic tools like PDCA, but power them with a human-centered culture of Kaizen. I'm going to leave you with this one last thought, which for me really is the soul of this whole way of thinking. It's a simple but profound commitment. Today must be better than yesterday, and tomorrow must be better than today. So ask yourself, what's one small improvement you can make tomorrow?